Hey everyone, my name is Rooster and welcome back to Mechabellum. In today's video I want to show you guys a replay where I try out high explosive ammo on the overlords. As some of you may know, overlord artillery, also called chin gun, got heavily nerfed in the latest patch, and so I don't think it's worth running anymore, and instead I decided to fit high explosive ammo. What this tech does is that for 200 credits it increases the splash range by 7 meters at the cost of 30% attack, and this can have hilarious consequences when paired with something like the Improved Overlord card, as you guys will see in the replay. Anyway, let's get over there and see what it's capable of. Alright, so here we are. Let's have a quick look at the packs. I think Farseer spec is decent, but it is rather low hit points, and I see Elite Specialist, and I am a bit of an Elite Specialist enjoyer, so I do pick it rather quickly. My opponent here decides to go for a Steel Ball Fang pack with the Typhoon Specialist. So, Steel Ball Fang not necessarily the best opener, but Typhoon Specialist still very strong, especially on aggro, and I am expecting my opponent to play aggro here. So what you're gonna see me do is try and position a bit more defensively, try and play around what I expect my opponent to be doing. What you'll see me do here is go for a more central position, which will allow me to pull the enemy units, whether they are all the way on the left side or all the way on the right side. Does look like in this situation my opponent decides to go for an asymmetrical push, but either way, even this pack all the way on the left will get pulled towards my units thanks to this Fang pack and won't be going for my tower. Looks like my opponent doesn't want to go for something like Arc Lights on turn 1 and instead decides to go for 2 crawlers, so doesn't really have any chaff clear to speak of. And as a lead here, I decide to go for double crawler, and it will pay off in this first round, as these level 2 crawlers are simply going to be too much for the Fangs to deal with, let alone the Steel Balls. Already we also see like one late Fang pack here on the right, opponent kind of trying to delay any potential attack on that tower, as they are playing asymmetrical of course. And yeah, you just see that all of his units in this first round are getting stuck on my chaff. I still have some blue crawlers left alive, as you can see. And that's a rather convincing turn 1 for me. All that needs to be done now is deal with these Fangs that were coming over from the other side. And so pretty happy here with round 1. Also, do keep in mind I have a lot of hit points here, so plenty of room to work with. Round 2, we get unit reinforcements. We have Rhino, Sledge, Double Arc, or Phoenix. I decided to go for Phoenix here. The reason being is that Phoenix is good into basically all of the other units that are being offered here, and the one thing that I am lacking is single target DPS. The Tarantulas already provide some chaff clear. I have a decent amount of chaff from round 1, and so the most sensible thing here seems to get these Phoenixes for single target DPS, and also to at least have some anti-air on the board in case my opponent decides to go for the Phoenixes as well. We do see Arc Lights, however, being picked up, as indeed the one thing that he was missing was chaff clear. Now I think ideally here he'd rather have had something like Wraith, but we'll have to contend with the Arc Lights. Decides to throw one of them on the side here. This pack of crawlers is newly added. That should win with the 2 seconds of spawn in time. And another level 1 Arc Light purchased all the way back here. So he's really trying to kind of pull my units apart, although it's not going to be that effective here. I mean, some of these crawlers are being pulled. This new Fang pack that I added won't be bothered, it's too far away, will instead just be moving forward. This Arc Light does end up dying on the flank. Phoenixes are now helping with the DPS, so the spiders don't get stuck too much. We see crawlers here approaching that Arc Light, level 1 Arc Light, not able to deal with level 2 crawlers, and so I will be winning. At least for now. And another good round here, sending my opponent down to 3,400 hit points. Round 3, heavy armor shows up. Could be a really good item. Intensive training also not that bad. This Tarantula just about not leveling, 5 EXP points short, a little bit unfortunate. I do decide to pick up the heavy armor here. And I decide to go for a Rhino. I'm not sure I like this play all that much. It is rather expensive, but it'll do the job at least of defending this flank. I think what would have been better is maybe just grab myself another Phoenix and have that insta-lock. But I was thinking that maybe he would add some crawlers on the flank, and in that case the Rhino is a great flank defense. It is a little bit tricky though into these steel balls, and I'm not sure if it will be doing all that much as the game progresses. Here I decided to also add a crawler here on the right side, seeing as my opponent is only defending it with fangs. These level 2 crawlers should get in and get me a debuff. And I also decided to put down a missile because I was a bit afraid of this flank on the right side of my board. You will see the crawlers going in. Debuff comes through for me. And I do think that is very helpful this round. Again, my opponent's Typhoon spec was able to get 2 Typhoons this round, one for free, and bought another one himself. And with the debuff here, Steel Ball's not able to lock onto my Rhino, which is very good for me. And so I get another good round, 3 in a row. Very beneficial for me, considering that I am elite spec, and the longer the game goes, the more money I will have to actually unlock and buy those expensive units, as I do have to buy them at level 2. And here we see the card I was talking about showing up, Improved Overlord. Increasing Overlord's attack by 30%, the HP by 30%, and splash range by 5, but increases recruitment cost by 100. So this would offset, right, that 30% damage loss that you get from clicking HE. And it adds another 5 meters of splash as well. So I do decide to pick it up, because I had not tried it yet. Now I am elite spec, so this is going to be a very, very expensive thing to go for. Improved Overlord cost 500. On elite it costs 700. 200 unlock cost, 900. If I want to get HE on the same turn, 1100. You see where I'm going with this. So this round I decide not to go for it yet. Instead I decide to go for a Tarantula. I decide to upgrade my other 2. Opponent here seems to go for another Typhoon, a Crawler, and a Steel Ball on the right side, kind of building his board now towards the right, also defending that tower. And he did pick up the Wasp Swarm. This is a big mistake by me. I should have had a better look at all of the cards and not get distracted by that Improved Overlord, as I do completely miss it here, and that is outright a mistake on my behalf, and I will pay for it, as you will see. Wasps completely undefended there. I did have a missile here, but I should have added one in the middle at least, and that's what we call a -50 there. Left tower goes down, and yeah, this is not looking good at all. Had I not been debuffed here, I think I would have been in a better spot. I probably still would have lost a round. That being said, I did add crawlers on this flank this turn, so maybe I would have been okay. And now I just basically let my opponent know about the flank. I don't get anything out of it, and I still lose a ton of hit points. I mean, this looks like something like 1500, maybe even close to 2k damage there. Yeah, closer to 2k. Down to 3300. Round 5 we get unit reinforcements again. Nothing really that I might want. Although Badger here is not that bad. I do decide to pick it up. Also a very nice pairing together with Overlords. And here I was thinking about potentially replacing some of my Tarantulas down the line with the Fire Badgers. I decided to sell out of my Rhino, as it was dying to those Steel Balls that did pick up range. And my opponent sold the Arclight. So instead I repurposed the Heavy Armor onto one of these new Fire Badgers. I finally have the money to go for one Overlord with HE, 1100 down the drain. And let's see what it's capable of. Keep in mind this has 19 meters of splash. Just look at that. Oh! One salvo killing level 3 Steel Balls. Also instantly getting rid of the shield there. And you really do not feel the loss of attack here. I mean, you don't, because it's an Improved Overlord and so it's offset. And the HE really adds to the effectiveness. I mean, just look at that. 3 steel balls, 1 arc light hit there. Unfortunately, the right side is losing. My opponent did add the shields, and yeah, I was not able to afford more than 1 boat this turn. So right side does fall. I get debuffed twice here, and I think that even for this HE Overlord, it's going to be a little bit too much. But you can see how much work it does here. Getting rid of those mid-sized units at the end of the round and saving me a good amount of hit points, as I'm now down to 2600. This turn we get portable shield offered here. Quite a good item for my sledges. Not sledges, fire badgers, excuse me. And I do decide to pick it up. Same thing for my opponent. Good item for those steel balls too. Might allow them to survive a bit longer against this overlord. And so here I decide to pick up more overlords, obviously. 2 more, in fact. And that is going to be my turn. 1400. All I can afford. I do decide to sell something. Not exactly sure what. But something was sold. Might have been the Phoenixes. Opponent here getting some levels on the Typhoons. Levels on the Steel Balls. Decided to like put a Fire Badger all the way in the corner there to defend that crawler flank I had. I do think that's a bit of an overcommitment. 300 credits against 150. It will win, but it's very unlikely that this will contribute to the fight afterwards because they have to travel from all the way back. And now let's see what this is able to do. Sides are now properly defended. Shield just goes down instantly again. And keep in mind that these overlords are able to help chaff clear now as well. My tarantulas I see here are dying very quickly. The reason is their low range. They actually get outranged by the steel balls right now. And you will see me selling out of those tarantulas and replace them with the fire badgers I had. As I think the fire badgers are slightly better at chaff clear, and they're also slightly better against the steel balls. So another round where I lose, and now I'm starting to get into danger territory, down to 1,000 hit points. Decide to skip here. There was a storm available. Maybe my opponent could have gone for that to try and get a gut shot. And this is where I decide to sell one of my tarantulas, and with that money, I am able to get both range and overload as my second and third tech. And suddenly these overlords have become even scarier, right? They now shoot twice as fast. And they even have a little bit more range than before. I also do decide to pick up 2 more badgers here. Kind of creating a bit of a front line at least for my overlords. And add a little bit of extra chaff clear, even though the overlords are effective here with that 90-meter splash. Opponent goes for 2-3 marksmen with AA. I'm not sure that's going to be enough. We'll have to see. I mean, just look at the damage right now coming down, raining upon these typhoons. Level 3 steel balls do not stand a chance, although this one still manages to distract quite effectively. Right side goes down. I get rid of that marksman, but oh, luckily we got rid of most of his units. And I don't quite die. 553 hit points, do or die territory. None of these items seem that good to me, so I decide to skip, get as much econ as I possibly can. The wasps are back off cooldown. This time I will have to play around them, because if I get debuffed, it's lights out. Opponent decides to go for energy absorption, which I don't think is that good. There isn't all that much for his steel balls to heal off of. And these overlords do not have that much trouble killing them. Maybe this one, like these ones with the 2 items, the super heavy and the portable shield there, might be hard to kill, but the other stuff I don't think that much of a problem. Adds more marksmen to the mix. I think that probably is a better play here. Try and focus on getting more anti-air on the board, as these boats are my main threat. Decide to pick up one more boat, one more crawler, adding to this, adding to the mix. And I decide to go for loose formation. Loose formation, even after the nerf, still a very good tech against things like the Typhoons that only have 5 meters of splash. And I decided to go for some oil here, but I set it on fire myself, and I'm not really sure if I'm doing him a benefit here or if I'm actually getting anything out of it. Steel balls managed to lock on. That shield's such an annoying item to deal with, blocking a lot of damage from my boats. Luckily for me, we did manage to win the right side, and a couple of my crawlers managed to survive and distract these marksmen from killing the boats. Which does mean that I finally start picking up around again. And now my opponent down to 1500 hit points. We do see, I mean, advanced targeting system could be considered, but I thought it was too expensive and I didn't think it was necessary as we were in a headbutt. So range, not the most important stat. Acid blast and smoke bomb, possible, but with the shields, I didn't think it was that worth picking. And so I do believe that I decided to skip here. And I had been eyeing the... Oh, I take the smoke bomb, pardon me. Yeah, picking up the smoke bomb here and putting it on my own side of the battlefield where my opponent cannot shield. And I had been eyeing this right side of the board for some time. There is nothing on this side to stop a potential advance. And I mean, a level 2 boat here will easily be able to punch through is what I'm thinking. And so you will see me go for that. I also decide to pick up a crawler, pick up a mobile beacon from the right tower, and here we go. Of course, I'm loaning. Temp range, temp speed have been clicked. This boat here, I decide to level it up as it was dealing the most damage. It's actually close to 1 million damage dealt across the rounds. It was the first one on the board, so it does make some sense. And it has to face like these high-level Typhoons and steel balls with items, so I think it was justified. I mean, look at what's happening over there. One salvo killing the Typhoons and also hitting the marksman that was standing behind them because of that 19-meter splash. Tower will fall, even though it's leveled. It's only a level 2 tower, so no problem for the Improved Overlord here. And with that, we managed to push into our opponent's side of the board and finish off this game in style, showcasing the power of Improved Overlords with the high explosive tech. Perhaps not a game where you might expect it. Elite specialist, not known to go for giants all that often, as they are extremely expensive, especially when you need to buy improved giants and triple tech them. But we did manage to get there just in time before dying. And yeah, the HE here on the Improved Overlords, such a large amount of splash. And against these mid-sized units, the steel balls, the Typhoons, but you can also think of things like sledges or tarantulas, or even things like Badger and Saber. The HE is actually even more effective than not having it. You manage to hit both shields here on the Typhoons, get rid of it. You often hit multiple units, and so that kind of offsets for this damage reduction. Of course, right now, that is being offset by the Improved Overlord card. Alright, if you like this video, please leave a like. Comment down below if you've tried this strat yourself. What do you think of it? If you want to see me play live, please check me out on Twitch. And with that being said, take care and see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.